Do you remember how we started the last video, Amb? No? Excellent. Good evening, ladies and squibblies, and welcome back to How Not to Play Pathfinder. Today, this week, I have gone in and messed around with the Sorcerer. Definitely did not secretly add in Werecreature to this. I totally added it on my own volition. So, you want to play Sorcerer, but you don't want to play right. Or you just want to mess around and just annoy your dungeon master. Well, this build most certainly is going to do that. In order to know how to do something wrong, we have to know what is right. The Sorcerer. You could probably guess what the Sorcerer does. We'll blow things up. We cast the spells. We blow things up. We cast more spells. And then we blow things up. That's the Sorcerer. Our core class feature as the Sorcerer is Sorcerous Potency. I will read it verbatim. Because of the magical power inherent in your blood, your spells that hurt or cure are stronger than those of other spellcasters. Your spells gain additional damage based on whatever rank they are, so in general, your spells just do a lot more hurting. We are not going to use this, because we are playing the Sorcerer wrong. We will instead be a frontline sort. Let me show you the build. Starting off with our background, I have thematically built up this one, just like the previous How Not to Play. You are a wild creature. You come from the deep forest as someone that kind of grew up with the wolves, so to speak. That being said, while we are a werebeast, it does not matter what werecreature you want to be. Do you want to be a werebat with echolocation and flight capabilities? Do you want to be a werebear to break people's spine? Do you want to be a wereshark because you find sharks cute somehow? I don't understand. Or just make up some other weird ones that you want to because you're definitely not a furry if you're watching this channel. Talk with the DM, have some fun with it, do whatever the hell you feel like. It's still going to work in this build. Sharks are cute. Sure thing, buddy. Okay, squish, the sharks are cute. Next up, unlike the previous build, this one, we will ideally want to have a human ancestry. Now, I'll tell 2 reasons. One, mechanically, we will get 2 nice bumps for general feats. We can wear heavy armor. We are a sorc with a dedication with Werecreature stuff, neither of those that give us armor. However, because we are human and certain choices that I will be showing you in just a moment, we can wear freaking heavy armor. Our armor class, up at 6th level, is going to be 24. That's pretty dang good. Starting off at 1st level, we will be taking Versatile Heritage, so we can pick up a general feat. And then we'll be picking up Armor Proficiency. This will give us light armor at level 1. Next up, we'll be taking General Training as a human feat, which allows us to get another general feat. Taking Armor Proficiency again. Now we can wear medium armor at level 1 as a sorc. For attribute boosts, we are most certainly going to be taking Strength, some Dex, Constitution, and if you want, Charisma. We do not need Charisma for this build. I have gone over and looked at all the spells. As far as I'm aware, we will not be making attacks, or enemies will be making saving throws against our spells. Bump Charisma if you want, or anything else. Bloodline. We will be taking, mechanically, the Draconic Bloodline. We will begin with our DM and saying, I am not Draconic Bloodline, but rather we are a nature-embodied bloodline. As we kind of grew up, you could say potentially even with druids. We will get the Primal Tradition. We will have primal spells. Later on, we'll be getting Haste, and this is going to be a very important one. We can cast Haste as our Sorcerer's Gift, which will then proc our blood magic to give us a +1 to armor class. Haste, super good for this build. We get an additional action to either stride or strike. Normally, a spellcaster, such as a sorc, is probably not going to make any kind of strikes. Maybe they might want to stride and constantly run right all over the field, But for us, haste is super good because we are definitely going to be using that extra action to make strikes or do any other kind of fancy things. At level 2, I have picked up some thematic fun ones such as Tame Animal. Later on at level 4, I went with Nature Medicine. 6, we went with Forager. We got a lot of thematic things that make us feel like we have grown up in the wild. We're like a natural beast. We're basically like an animal. We're practically a druid, but also not. At level 2, I decided to go with Familiar. This will give us a nice little companion that can potentially help us, as other feats generally apply to spells and we're not really going to be using our spells. The Werecreature dedication. Now at level 3, we get Heavy Armor. We get Heavy Armor as a Sorc at level 3. This is really cool. I don't care what you think or who you are. For skill increases, we're probably going to be focusing on athletics for any kind of combat maneuvers we potentially want to have. We have hit up to a 4 in strength, as you can see over here. Once we get our attributes at level 5, we'll be quite a tanky frontliner, even if we're only getting 6 hit points every level. We got 3 in con. We're going to be good. And at level 4, we're getting something called Bespell Strikes. So as a free action, we can add forces from our spells into our melee strikes, adding a little extra force damage. This will still potentially be quite useful, as we have a variety of buffing or debuffing spells that can be used both in and out of combat. And last but not least, this is a personal preference. I went with the Enhanced Familiar. I love having a very customizable familiar that has all sorts of weird little toys that can help with a variety of different ways. Plus, we're leaning very much into the nature, primal kind of person. Have fun with it. Now on to our bread and butter, but also not. Now for our spells. Cantrips, we're probably not going to be using in combat, so I went with a couple of things that potentially could work. Glass Shield actually might come up. While we will get a small bump to our armor class and then it shatters, the fact that we're actually going to be usually, if not always, in melee will make very effective use of Glass Shield. But for the rest of these, just have fun with it. Maybe tame animals and piss off your DM. Go with Sigil and just do graffiti everywhere. Oh god. You just occurred to me you could be, this would be like marking territory as a wild beast. Anyway, probably won't be using them. We'll be just knocking skulls and ripping hearts. I've gone through and found things that could potentially work for this build that we're not going to be casting to fight with, but rather buff ourselves, buff our allies, potentially debuff things, or just some fun things that we can use out of combat. Starting off with Tailwind. This one's a pretty obvious guess that you could have assumed. We'll be getting a nice 1 hour buff that we can set up before combat. Have us go and run through the day, and we can get up to our prey much more easily. Heal, because who doesn't like some nice healing? This could potentially come in clutch, very helpful in pretty much any situation. And in a rare case scenario, can apply our Sorcerer's Potency. We can get a little extra healing. Now this one is where we might start being less or more thematic depending on how you want your Werecreature to feel. Regardless, mechanically this is fairly quite nice. As a first rank spell, as a reaction, we get to summon a wall of earth that can protect us. Plain and simple. Reaction, take less damage. Great, especially if we're going to be in frontline. Mystic Armor. Actually, wait, no, remove this. Can't use Mystic Armor because we already got plenty of armor. Pest Form. We can turn into another creature. Why not? Really stick into the whole, like, druidic kind of thing. Runic Body, this is the main one. So as our primary spell that we are most likely going to be using at the beginning of our turn, we're going to cast, most likely, Runic Body, especially at lower levels, giving our claws +1 striking. So will give us a very big damage bump. Yeah, starting at level 1, we can pump this stuff out. Shielded Arm. This is also another potentially good one for a melee non-castery kind of Sorc. For 2 actions and 1 minute, we can now block with our arm. We can use shield block, but we don't need anything. Our arm is our shield. And last but not least, we have Weave Wood. This could be a fun little roleplay thing if you want. We can effectively just about summon any kind of object and have it be made of wood. My face is my shield. Exactly. That's exactly what this spell is. Now going on to second rank spells. Starting off with the most big one, pun intended, enlarge. We become one big thick boy with an extra reach of 5 feet. We will be a little bit clumsy, but that is fine. This is just generally good for a frontline. Next up, Hidebound. As a reaction, we get physical resistance. It's just good. Take it, even if you're not a frontliner. Now, one of my personal favorite ones that I have actually used as a Sorc before as well. For 2 actions, you give your entire party an additional action to stride. This is really good if you get a go first in combat. Bust this out as your first cast spell, get all of your allies where they need to be immediately, and have an additional action to do other things that they may potentially want to be. Very helpful. Now, 3 action mist, concealment, can potentially be very good. This is going to require setup. You gotta be decently strategic. You can't just have the whole like set and forget it, maul people, have fun with that kind of stuff. This is gonna be more for those strategic kind of people. Next up is Shrink. I think this has very potentially like powerful uses. Even in roleplay situations, there's a lot of fun shenanigans, I guess, you could have with Shrink. Yeah, this is just a creative choice. There's a lot of good stuff you could potentially get out of this one. And now, Speak with Animals. Please just take this one. This is going to be almost mandatory for the build. It's just have fun. You're a Werecreature. Speak with the animals. Really stick with the vibe. Even when you're not in your creature form and whatnot, and you're just talking to someone's cat, pick up Speak with Animals. You'll have fun. Claw Song. This one depends on what kind of Werecreature that you decide to go with. If you have claws, this can upgrade it to potentially give you a deadly D8 on your claw attacks. So you would set this up before or at the beginning of combat, albeit it is sustained, so you will be spending an additional action each turn. This would be only good if it does end up giving you the deadly D8. So, depends on what you choose. And lastly, Cleanse Affliction. Trust me when I say this can come in handy more often than you might think. Being able to cure a curse, a disease, or poison, there's a variety of things this thing can afflict. This is very helpful. And now for third rank spells. This one had some variety of weird ones, so it depends on the theme of your character. I'm all about themes here, so I don't know if anything's gonna be good. I kind of went gloss overs. A lot of third rank spells had long descriptors. You might want to look at some of them yourself, but I found some that would still be quite applicable that does not matter on what your attack score is. So if you dump Charisma as a sorcerer, these are still going to be probably viable. Starting off with Wooden Double. If you are critically striked, you can use your reaction to take a lot less damage. This is very good. Next up, Speak with Plants. Take it. Shadow Spy. I'll be honest, the only reason why I added this is like, you create some kind of bird that spies in an area, and then specifically it states you have to wring out the bird's neck, crunch it, and drink its blood to get the information of what it saw. The Four Hunters. This one is wildly versatile, with its effects all being kind of okay. I definitely still added this because it's usable no matter what your charisma score, your spell scores, anything whatnot, but it's also very thematic. It is the embodiment of being in tune with nature, knowing when and how to do things. You literally tell like a quick little story, some wise knowledge of survival. This is a great thematic spell and is wildly versatile. So for you, those of you that are strategic, this is definitely a must pick. Sandform. For 2 actions for the next 10 minutes, so you can do this before combat and be prepared for a decent amount of time, you take less piercing and slashing damage. This is a little bit better than the other one because it can go off several times to give you each of the instances of resistance. Yeah, this is good. Just gives you resistance. 1 with stone. So the funny part about this one is our heavy armor sorcerer by the level 6 is going to have an armor class of 24. If we're using this at level 5, the stone that we turn into is going to have the exact same armor class, and at level 6 it would reduce our armor class. But you could still have some fun things with this things as you do the whole Homer Simpson thing, melding into stone and just, nah, I'm goodbye. So this is a fun one you could potentially pick up if you want to just mess around. Alright, there you have it. That is how not to play a sorcerer. We will not be fighting with our spells. We might use them to buff allies, buff ourselves, do some random shenanigans like creating wood things, or just using a lot of them to most likely protect ourselves. It seems to be a lot of variety on the spells. One small asterisk, please try not to annoy your DM by summoning or taming a bunch of animals and just having a full-on menagerie. And if you do want to have a full-on menagerie to play around with and have your little fluffies, make sure they're like out of combat. Talk to your DM. There's a lot of talk to your DM, most notably because the Werecreature dedication is rare. So you literally have to ask your DM if you can do this. But yeah, get buddy with your DM, have some fun, make up your own Werecreature, become whatever it is that you want to be, and yeah, have fun tearing hearts out as a sorcerer, which you shouldn't do because you're a sorcerer. The bird flies to your location if you wring... Yeah. Last sentence. If you wring its neck and drink its blood, you learn all that it saw since its creation. Why did they add that? What the fuck? I love it. Let's add it. They specifically say that you have to crack its neck and drink its blood. Fuck me. Alright. Why not? You know what? I think we all know why. I think we'll add that. Are you okay, Squish? No? Okay. Alright, I think we are finally done. Let's wrap up this video, huh? Put that in the right order. These should be the first and second. Cool. Are you done? She was unaware of done. You have been clarified to have cute sneezes. How does that make you feel? This recording is going to be 2 hours long. Let's hurry up and finish this.